Africa holds nearly $4 trillion in long-term domestic savings through pension funds, insurance assets, and central bank reserves. Yet the continent faces an annual financial gap of more than $400 billion. We attract barely 1% of global institutional investment and only 4% of foreign direct investment. Even today, African countries borrow at rates between 200 and 400 basis points above their fundamentals and where the fundamentals justify. This paradox reveals a simple truth. Africa does not suffer from a shortage of capital, and that has been said by both the CEO of ATIDI and my good friend Sidi. We do not suffer from a shortage of capital. And I say so even when I specifically talk about our own country, Kenya. When I came into office, I championed and I explained to the people of Kenya why savings is important. In our National Social Security Fund, we had 312 billion Kenya shillings saved in 60 years. But in just 2 years, we have moved it from 312 to 680 billion. By next year, we will triple what we have saved in 60 years in 3.5 years. What does that mean? It means there is no shortage of capital. It is us getting organized and getting the resources we have organized and using it for our own development. So when we say there is no shortage of capital in our continent, that statement is very, very true. From my own experience, in just 3 years, I have seen how we can mobilize domestic resources. It is easy. Actually, it's not easy. It is difficult to go borrowing money from people. They subject you to all manner of things. You know, do this, go and pass this law. How about those things, what are those ones called? You go and pass the sexuality laws, go and do this, go and do this. You know, things that have nothing to do with the money you're looking for. But of course, you are subjected to such if you refuse to do what you have to do. Today, I invite every member state represented here to join Kenya in launching the Nairobi Capital Compact on Africa economic sovereignty. The compact rests on 5 commitments: to progressively recapitalize ATIDI, to strengthen the alliance of African multilateral financial institutions, to mobilize Africa's domestic capital, to expand our guarantee and risk-sharing capacity, and number 5, to build globally competitive African multilateral financial institutions. This is an invitation to governments, institutional investors, and development partners alike to finance Africa's transformation on the correct terms. Our bottom-up economic transformation agenda requires investment on a scale that public resources alone cannot provide. Private capital must therefore become our partner. Strengthening ATIDI is not only in Africa's interest, it is firmly in Kenya's national interest. Kenya will lead from the front. Accordingly, I announce today our intention as we go into the future, as I did in our last meeting, Kenya's capital participation in ATIDI progressively to increase with an initial $25 million. We will continue to increase until we arrive at $65 million. To demonstrate that commitment, we will continue positioning Nairobi as Africa's premier financial and development hub. In support of that vision, we prepared to provide strategic institutional support, including the allocation of land. This evening, I have a title here, issued by the government of Kenya to facilitate the establishment and expansion of the headquarters and regional offices of African multilateral financial institutions, specifically to ATIDI. And I want to present the title to my good friend.
Makofi yajae kabisa. Let's give a warm clap for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, let's take our seats. This is a 2-acre piece of land in Upper Hill, valued at $8 million. When we had the Africa Forward Summit here last month, we made a conscious decision as leaders of this continent that we are going to rethink how we finance our development. We're going to work with partners, and we are immensely grateful for the World Bank, the IMF, IBRD, and all the other partners that have worked with us. They have walked this journey with us. But they have done so much. But there is space for us to do more ourselves. And we cannot delegate what we can do for ourselves for others to do for us. It is not fair to ourselves. It is not fair to them. We must do what we must do. And we made a very conscious decision and said, we must stop the blame game. We must stop blaming others for our own underdevelopment. And I remember one head of state saying that nobody owes us development. We owe it to ourselves. Development is first and foremost our responsibility as leaders in this continent. African development is first and foremost our responsibility. And we must take charge of it. It is easy to blame other people, especially for failures that have nothing to do with them, but everything to do with us. The global economy is reordering. Trade is being reconfigured. Geopolitics is fragmenting, and development finance is under tremendous strain. These pressures are not perceptions, they are real. But they also present Africa with an unprecedented opportunity to redefine its place in the global financial system. For years, we have championed a fairer global financial architecture, one that stops mispricing Africa and African risk and making our capital needlessly expensive. That call remains right. I have been, as they have said, to every forum and every meeting, and I have stated our position unequivocally that we do not want a system that favors us. We want a system that treats all of us equally. And that is not too much to ask.
Your Excellency, your generosity that Manuel has not stopped emphasizing reflects far more than hospitality. It is a powerful affirmation of Kenya's enduring commitment to regional cooperation, African institutions, and shared prosperity of our continent. As one of ATIDI's founding member states and gracious host since inception, Kenya has remained a steadfast partner, demonstrating how visionary leadership and strong institutions can mobilize investment, strengthen resilience, and accelerate sustainable development. For this unwavering partnership, we extend our sincere appreciation once more. We are equally grateful to the government and the people of Kenya for their warm welcome and exceptional hospitality throughout this important week in ATIDI's journey. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening is much more than the opening of an annual general meeting. It is a celebration of partnership, a celebration of trust. And above all, we celebrate the celebration of a shared belief in Africa's limitless potential. We are privileged to be joined by representatives from member states this evening, shareholders, development finance institutions, and diplomatic community. Private investors and strategic partners are not left out, whose collective commitment has helped shape ATIDI into one of Africa's most respected mutual financial institutions. As we prepare for our formal deliberation in the coming days, tonight offers a valuable opportunity to strengthen relationships, reflect on how far we have come, and renew our collective commitments to Africa's future. This year carries particular significance as ATIDI celebrates 25 years, a quarter of a century of impact. It is a moment to honor the vision of our founders, celebrate the confidence of our shareholders and partners, and recognize the dedication of everyone who has contributed to this remarkable journey. Over the past quarter century, ATIDI has evolved from a bold African vision into a globally respected institution that has facilitated billions of dollars in trade and investment, strengthened investor confidence, and contributed meaningfully to economic transformation across member states. If capital is the engine of development, confidence is the fuel. That is where ATIDI has found its unique purpose. We do not merely mitigate risk, we create confidence. And where confidence grows, investors follow. Where investors flow, economies flourish. And where economies flourish, lives are transformed. This is the unique value that ATIDI brings to Africa and to the global investment community. The impact of this work is increasingly recognized beyond our continent.
Since you assumed office as president, you have not stopped supporting our institutions. You have actually given it even more momentum. We have seen you in action in all the forums, either at the African Union, at the United Nations, and any forum in TICAD, everywhere you are advocating for our institutions. We say African financial institutions need to be supported, and you are leading from the front. I can testify that. Asante sana.
Over the past 25 years, ATIDI has grown into one of Africa's most important financial institutions, helping to unlock investment, support trade, and reinforce confidence in African market. This is an opportunity for me to thank President William Ruto, not only for hosting ATIDI, but also for championing the new African Financial Architecture for Development, NAFAD. Excellency, Mr. President, with your friend President Emmanuel Macron of France, you helped to elevate this initiative onto the global stage. First here in Nairobi, during the Africa Forward Summit last May, and more recently in Evian at the G7 Summit. We are grateful, President.
Over the past 25 years, ATIDI has evolved into Africa's leading provider of trade, investment, and credit risk insurance, spanning 24 member states and 13 institutional shareholders, while facilitating investments valued at over US $93 billion across the continent. Indeed, ATIDI has become a symbol of what African countries can achieve when they work together with a common purpose and shared ambition. And this Silver Jubilee therefore gives us an opportunity not only to celebrate institutional progress, but also to reflect on the partnership, trust, and collective commitment that have sustained ATIDI's journey over the years.